Elena, this Project the Self, on this Witchy Wednesday. And today we're going to be covering a sovereignty candle spell that you can find in Stephanie Woodfield's book called Celtic Lore and Spellcraft on Invoking the Morrigan. As always, I will never tell you to invoke anything that you do not know anything about, so I encourage you to please check out my video on the Call of the Morrigan, and it provides more information about her so that you can make an intelligent decision, on an informed decision on what you wish to do. I do not think that any form of witchcraft or casting should be taken lightly. Transformative magic has transformative change. So that means whatever you're putting out there, it could literally be just bulldozing a hole to create a path for you that was not originally there. Okay, so why would we do a sovereignty candle spell? Well, we're currently in the fall. We just went through fall equinox. We're getting close to Samhain, which means the veil is thin. This also means that right now is the time of Maka, who is the aspect of the Morrigan that is the sovereign queen. Okay, and the goddess of sovereignty can be found in different spiritualities and lore. And all it is an ancient archetype found in Celtic tradition, as well as I found it in North Indian lore as well. It essentially embodies abundance and prosperity of the land. It's a strong connection to sacred wells, divine knowledge, and horses. So goddesses like Rhiannon, Ipana, Maka, Madhavi, the Indian goddess of this, and now lastly the Morrigan, who's an encompassment of Maka, Bob, and Anu. So, and what we need to know about the goddess of sovereignty is that she personifies inner strength, personal power, and the regal queen who anoints and sacrifices mortal kings and holds power over land, animals, as well as people. Okay, so the Morrigan is a sovereign of herself, but in Celtic lore, how kings were made, where they had to go through this like ritual, sacred marriage with the goddess in order to become a king. And this marriage was not forever. If at any time the goddess felt that the king wasn't conducive for the land or the people, or if the king had some kind of blemish on him or illness, because he's tied to the land. If he's sick, the land is sick. If he is maimed, the land would be maimed. But if he does well and he's prosperous, the land will also be prosperous and well. So if at any time she has to dispose of the king, she will put a younger one in. So we see the love triangle going on here, where you have the queen who gets rid of the older king for the younger king. And it's just the cycle. And it's reflective in the Wiccan as well as pagan cycle of the wheel. Like how half the year is of fertility and of abundance, and how the other half of the year is darkness and rebirth. So this is reflective of that. With the Morrigan, she's reflecting maturity and the wisdom of experience. That's what this archetype is, the queen archetype. Some would even say that there's a fourth aspect of the goddess. You have maid, you have mother, and you have crone. Or they're saying the queen is in between the crone and mother stage. Okay, and to become part of this stage, she has to be reflecting maturity and the wisdom of experience, because at this point in time you would have experience, you would have maturity, because you've probably bore children, or you're at a stage in your life where you've handled some obstacles in your way. Okay, another thing to know about the sovereign queen. Okay, the power was not shared. It went from goddess to king, and like I said, it was originally linked to the land, and you had to go through a sacred marriage. An example of this would be King Arthur in the Arthurian legends, and how he was disposed for Lancelot. In lore, she appears as a hag to test the man's worthiness. So the story of Cuchulainn and how he meets the Morrigan, she disguises herself as a hag and tries to seduce him, like tells him to like get all up on it. And when he declines, she then gives him a favorably worded prophecy, which would ensure that she wins either way. But it ultimately leads him to his death because he dies after that. So with this sovereignty candle spell, what would we be getting for ourselves? Why would we do it? It's centered, the queen. The queen archetype is centered on her image and self-worth, honoring her own self-worth and taking responsibility for her own decisions and dreams. She rules over her own fate and destiny, earned authority and respect by overcoming life's obstacles, and embodies and is the embodiment of strength and grace under fire. Okay? And like I said, we would perform this during the waiting room, which is now, as well as the oath of sovereignty, how we go about that. So we're going to make a candle, which I will do in my kitchen upstairs, not down here, because you need a burner. I'm just going to teach you how to make the candle itself. If you are truly motivated, you can go and have one made for you. I did for mine because this was years ago, and I wanted to make it special. It was not just something I just cast. It was a rite of passage for me. It was, here's where I'm at in my life and here's where I want to be. I don't want to be there anymore. So it was, I made it all symbolic. I had a nice blue dress because blue, like the kind of indigo blue, is the color of sovereignty. So I had a blue dress, I had a blue candle, and this is how I went about it. And first, for this spell, you're going to need an oath of sovereignty. And this is going to help develop your queen archetype. It's a vow to yourself and to the goddess. Express what you wish to gain. It must be in your own words, and be careful what you write because it will be essentially how you will dictate what comes in your life, okay? And it's a vow that you make to yourself and to the goddess. It should not be taken lightly, okay? So it needs to be very serious. It's what you are vowing to yourself. Now, you cannot break a vow to yourself, a covenant with yourself. That is how you get to self-hatred. That's how you get to self-loathing. That's how all your chakras and everything become out of alignment. That's how you start to lose your connection to the divine, and ultimately you slowly kill yourself because of all that. So this is very important that you do this correctly, and you take the time and you write it out how you wish to be. Just to give you an account of this, because I'm what you call a note taker, an observer. So anytime I've ever casted, I write down what I said. I write down what transpired after. So for me, the reason why I did the sovereignty spell was, it seems like after I got out of an abusive relationship, that I just had this stamp on my forehead that told any and every person who wanted to take advantage of me or abuse me, like, to come towards me. Because that's like, it just seemed like I was just stuck in that loop of attracting those kind of people. And it didn't matter what boundaries I had, it didn't matter, it was just like there's something just attracting these people to me. Okay, well, what this spell does is you are declaring what you're going to allow in your aura. So with Reiki and your chakras and all the holistic healing out there that teaches you how to magnetize your aura, how to cleanse it, how to make it susceptible to attracting what you want, how to manifest, because we have 9 auric layers of our body, and your aura is essentially, it can foretell, if you have a healthy aura, it can foretell future events for you, possibilities from things that happen millions of miles away, or even to the tiniest aspect of a cell in your body. Your aura is basically your receptor of information, just constantly downloading, deciphering, and making decisions. Now, if you do not have a healthy aura, say if you are chronically stressed or something, you essentially don't have that auric field. It's plastered to your skin. So I think that is what happened to me, is I was under chronic stress. I went through domestic violence. I had to give up my job. I had to give up my home. I had to completely restart my kids and my life after all that. And what I found after doing this spell was essentially what we teach you in Reiki and what we teach you on healing. Is it essentially what, in the midst of going through all that growth, to naturally heal yourself, to naturally get your aura healthy, and to get your chakras in alignment, this is going to do it temporarily for you. Like, so everything that you would get from being a fully healed person, from being in alignment, just being, in complete harmony with yourself, this is going to temporarily do that for you while you're trying to do the work on yourself. This is going to fix your aura so that way you're not attracting those people. And say, from the experiments I've done with this, like I said, I am an observer, it seemed like the people who were closetly like abusive or who were secretly toxic, it exposed them. It made people who came into my aura who were like that just blatantly and immediately toxic. Like, they're spewing out hatred, they're yelling at you. There's going to be some kind of chaos or tension there. And it's basically, you have declared that you're not going to accept this kind of behavior, this kind of people, this kind of verbiage at you. You're not going to be disrespected. You're not going to have anybody violate your boundaries. It's going to hold that in place magically. So magically you're doing this. You're going to hold that in place. And whenever these people's auras come in contact with yours, they're going to feel triggered. They're going to, everything about you they're going to hate. But they're going to be very open about it. So it's like you're warning, your message that, hey, this is a person I can't have in my life anymore. They have to go. Like, it's immediate. It's just, you have that inner knowing of, wow, okay, that's how you're really like. Gosh, like I've never, like, for me, it was people that I've loved my entire life. We're talking family members, things like that. People who were there for me. Just all of a sudden, when they came in contact with my aura, boom, exposed them. It made it to where, like, they were blatantly disrespectful to me. They were blatantly hateful to me. And it made it to where it wasn't secret, abusive people, they're not blatantly like that. They work their way into your life for like years or so, and then it comes out, and then you're kind of stuck because you've established all these roots and ties to this person. Well, with this spell, it made it to where they couldn't even be in the same room with me, and they would just be blatantly toxic. And it's like, okay, you're like that. This isn't secretive anymore. Wow, like, it'll make it to where it's a deal breaker for you. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. And it's because you made a vow, a covenant with yourself that you're not allowing that anymore. And remember, when you make a covenant to yourself, it cannot be broken. Like, you cannot lie to yourself. You cannot make an oath, especially not magically declaring to the universe that this is what you're going to have, this is what you're not going to have, and this is how it's going to be. Well, you can't do that because you'll experience some very negative repercussions because you're going to magnetize that. You're going to bring it towards you. You're going to have some inner turmoil while you're going through this. So this is a great spell if you're ready for the change. If you're trying to heal yourself but you're stuck in that electromagnetic low vibrational area and you're trying to get out. Like, you want to move forward. You want to do the work. Because by all means, this does not stop you from doing the work, to growing, to ascending, going through those processes of the soul. Okay, this doesn't stop that. This will essentially give you the time you need to do the growth. And it's kind of like a protection spell. Look at it like that. You're a protection spell for your aura, and strengthening it and making it to where you can be who you're supposed to be. You can develop all those boundaries. You decide what's going to be in your life and what's not going to be in your life. So I'm going to go through that. I'm going to first give you guys an example of mine that I wrote. This was in 2018, mind you. I'll read a bit of it just so you can get an idea. And then I will read for you the spell out of Stephanie Woodfield's book. I'll put a link, or I'll put the cited page and stuff in my bio for this video so you guys can have it. And I'll write it out for you so you can just copy and paste it. But it has to be in your own words. This oath does. It has to be what you're declaring, not something of mine. But I'll give you an example, and then here in a few minutes I will show you how to make the candle itself. getting you if you're just wanting to do, if you're into casting and you're into doing your own things, you don't need to go to a witch shop to buy this stuff. You can literally make it yourself. Amazon has candle making kits for like $30, and you can make a bunch of different kind of candles that you need for whatever you're fancy. You don't have to keep going and like the lady behind the counter watching you buy a black candle or something and thinking that you're just out here doing all kinds of black magic. People are weird like that. They assume. So we'll get right to that. Okay, so the Sovereignty Oath spell. For the Sovereignty candle, you're going to need dark blue in color, because remember, sovereignty is the color of dark blue. At least in the Celtic tradition it is. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of dragon blood, 2 tablespoons of myrrh, 2 tablespoons of rose petal, and 1 tablespoon of amber. Okay, and you're going to need a crown. No, I'm not full of myself or, whatever. It's actually required. And this spell isn't just for women. It can be for men as well. Men, you would wear a torque. Women, you wear a crown. I mean, really get into it. I mean, it's you. It's a rite of passage. I bought me a blue gown. I got my crown, which these you can get off of, I think, like Be Elemental, and they're like $20. So you don't need to get like super expensive with it. It's just symbolic to you. This is a rite of passage for you. So make it special. Make it your day. It's all about you. It's your life. If you're declaring yourself to the universe as something, if you're come correct. That's what I always say. So that's what I would do. I would gather some fall leaves, some acorns, some oak, because that's symbolic to the time period of the year that Maka is present and who you're invoking. I would always have anytime you're casting, I would always offer an offering. For the Morrigan, from my personal experience, she seems to like whiskey. Whiskey, apples. Apples are another symbolic time of like fall, so it would be a good time for that as well. You're going to need the same basic things that you would need to cleanse and cast a circle. You're going to need water, salt, something like incense to represent air, and fire, because you're going to light the incense. So you're gonna cleanse and cast a circle. Go around with your water, go around with your salt, go around with your incense. Waft. Then you call the quarters. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. You can look it up on Google. There's plenty of sites out there that will show you how to do that. So here's an example of my sovereignty oath. Now, keep in mind, this has to be personal to you. You can't just copy mine. It will mean nothing. It's you stating what you want and what you will and will not tolerate for your life. So what I put down shouldn't matter to you. It has to be personal to you. And like I said, the words they shouldn't be said lightly. This is a vow. This is a vow to you, and this is a vow to a supreme being. Like, I don't care if you don't believe in her or not. This is to an entity. If she's not a supreme power to you, that's fine, but she's still something, She still can be felt. She's been felt all over the world. If you don't believe it, please, I encourage you to do some research. So here's my oath. My oath to you, Mother, Great Goddess Morrigan, is to be the image of you on earth, to carry on your warrior, motherly, queenly, crone, and mistress of magic spirit within myself, and to also pass along to my children. I honor myself, my self-worth, and take responsibility for my own decisions and dreams. I rule over my own fate and my own destiny, never more allowing others to rule over me. I am the sovereign of my life. I am the embodiment of strength and grace under fire. Today, on this day, this was like in 2018, I link myself to the Great Goddess Morrigan in a union passing from mother to daughter. No more will I attract people of ill intent, ill will towards myself, my children, or others. No more will I be abused, controlled, or manipulated. No more will I be stripped of my sovereignty over myself, my body, my mind, or spirituality. Okay, guys, we've come to the portion where I show you how to make the sovereignty candle. I'm not going to do the incantation for you, because that would be like redoing the spell, and I don't want to do that. I've already done it for myself. I'm trying to open up some unnecessary chaos for myself, but I will put it in the body of the description of the YouTube video, so that way if you want it, you can get it, or if you feel so truly moved, you should just go ahead and purchase the Stephanie Woodfield book. It is a great beginning tool if you've just started getting called by the Morrigan, or if you're wanting to learn more about Celtic witchcraft or lore and all that, because she's got everything. She's got stories, she's got spells, she's got everything. And it'll just at least get you an idea. It'll get you started. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do, like I said, I bought this as a kit. So it's very simple. I'm going to make a little candle. So I have these little molds. You can get these. Like I said, these are super cheap. You can get a set of 3 for like $5. This was like $40 for like everything, like wax, little, things of vials of oil and all that. Just to get you started if you're not trying to be like all fancy about it. What you're gonna do, you're gonna put this on the stove. You're gonna melt the wax. I already have wax in there because I already pre-portioned it out, so bear with me. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and get this going. You're gonna need wicks. Now in the kit, of course, it provides the cheap kind, whatever it's what this is used for. You're gonna take the sticky part of whatever's this little stuff they give you. You're gonna stick it to, it actually has, it's sticky on both sides. So you're gonna stick the bottom part of your wick on it. This is so your wick doesn't move when the candle's drying. Okay, so you're gonna do that. You're gonna stick this like this in it. You're gonna press down so it holds while that wax is melting. It'll take it a minute or so. But yeah, you're gonna do this. I have these little metal things. I don't know what they're called. I'm not a professional candle maker, but I get by. So you just put on top of this like this. So when you pour that wax in there, you're gonna stick this on top. So that way your wick doesn't move. It doesn't go anywhere. It will try to go places. So I have some myrrh. I would wait till the end of, making the candle, like after you poured it, to try to put your herbs into it. You can try to do it the other way, but the herbs will kind of gloop together and go towards the bottom of the candle, which is not what you want. You don't have to be super, super scientific on the herbs. I know I said like 2 tablespoons of this and 2 tablespoons of that. It's not necessary. It's thought and intention and the emotion you have when you cast. So just make sure you're of good mind when you do this. You've grounded yourself, you've meditated, you've done what you need to do. So I got my myrrh, I got my dragon's blood, rose petals. This towards the end, like when the candle's in the mold and it's drying. And you got amber. Amber's kind of hard to find. I know from my own scavenges, trying at the local witch shops, trying to find it. I had to have mine specifically ordered just for me. But I mean, I'd buy it from a credible source online. Now I do have oils, oils from what I've researched, if you want like an actual scented candle kind of fragrance coming from it, like that kind of power level, they said for a regular sized candle, like 80 to like 100 of drops of this. I'm not gonna get that crazy with it, because like I said, it's a spell, so I don't need to, make the whole room smell like roses. Okay, so now that our wax is melted, I dropped in the blue coloring. So they give you like these little heart-shaped colors. You just drop in there. It'll make it how it's supposed to be. So please observe. Now I would do this while you pour so it doesn't move anywhere. Extra wax, I don't know what to do with, so I'm just gonna put it in there. Wax can be reused. So when your candles burn out, you can reuse them. Now, I wouldn't reuse spell candles or ritual candles or anything, but like say regular basic candles, totally used. Okay, so here's your wick. This is what I would do. I would start putting your herbs in now that you've poured. You can really set up how you want it to be in there. And you can make it look kind of pretty. At the end of it, like say when it gets closer to drying all the way, if you want it to be like pretty to like sell, they would put the stones and stuff and the herbs where you see it visible on the top. They put those there like when it's in the process of drying, not when it's fully hot and like, you know, the candle wax form. You're just gonna leave it here. You're going to leave it here overnight. What I would do is, as it's drying, I would let it sit in your windowsill to absorb that waning moon energy, because that's who you're trying to facilitate this ritual with to begin with. So I would use that. But yeah, this is the Spire to the Self, guys, and the Sovereignty Candle. Feel free to comment or send me messages if you have any questions or concerns about it. I'd feel free, I'm more than happy to walk you through it. Or you could check out the Stephanie Woodfield book, and she goes in length what it's all about. So thanks, guys. Till next time.